Hello, ladies and gentlemen, PPL fans of all ages. This is your analyst, Trogaholic, coming at you with our Week 4 recap for Division 1 of the PPL. Now, unfortunately, I am going solo this week as me and Brandon had some scheduling conflicts and just very busy this week. So I'm going solo. I'm sure everyone's going to miss him, but getting rid of all the details, I'm here to bring you a recap for quite an amazing week. I am just going to run through most of this pretty quickly here, just so you guys can soak up all the stuff that you need. But before I get into this, I just want to remind you, please go subscribe to your favorite coaches. I'm sure they would love your support. Also, please subscribe to the PPL YouTube channel if you haven't already, and follow everyone on Twitter. That's just a really cool thing to do. Now, with that all out of the way, let's get right into everything. Very quickly, I do want to mention, unfortunately, there is one game that we are missing this week. Under the radar, Kelly and his Maryland Terrapins, and Jack Electric Storm and his Melbourne Victory Stars. As I am recording right now, and likely as this is being uploaded, this game has not been played. Everything, including the league table and the Golden Pokeball Award, will reflect this, as I'll mention later on. But in the meantime, just hold tight for this battles, but it's gonna be late. Very sorry for that. Let's move on to our first actual game. We have the Toronto Star Raptors with Jolt from the Token Minorities versus West Coast Wingles and Polymac, respectively bringing Decidueye, Diggersby, Thunderous Incarnate, Clefable, Mega Slowbro, and Talonflame, and Thunderous Therian, Donphan, Mienshao, Mega Scizor, Garchomp, and Nisprit. Both Thunderouses hitting the field. That's fun to see. It's pretty apparent that Thunderous Therian was quite a huge threat for Jolt's team. Paul knew this. Jolt knew this. So Jolt brought a pretty solid team to get rid of that. Wasn't too concerned about it. This game, I think the lead matchup really determined a lot of things, because Paul brought a Donphan, eventually going with one death, but looking like a really strong lead matchup for this game. So Jolt knew that. Jolt led with what he felt would be very strong to counter this Donphan, but Paul countered that counter, and because of that, ended up getting a really strong momentum throughout the game. A very straightforward game, not too much crucial hacks going on. The most important thing to note was Nisprit with the Healing Wish. Quite a nice set he brought there to give Thunderous Therian a second chance once the field had gotten a lot of damage on it. Eventually going 3-0. Of course, Polymac did win 3-0 this week. Thunderous getting 3 kills and 0 deaths. Mega Scizor with 2 kills and 0 deaths. And Donphan going 1-0. All three of which quite significant threats. But barring that Healing Wish Nisprit, I think Jolt was very well prepared for this game, and had Paul not given his Thunderous a second chance there, I think Jolt could have won. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, and you look back and it's like, oh wow, that's a really interesting set. Why didn't I think of this? Very solid game from both players. One of my 7 favorites this week. I of course say that because every game was my favorite. There weren't even 7 games, but anyway, great job from both you guys, and I think we now see them both going 2-2. Polymac going into here was checking the league table. Yeah, Polymac was 1-2 and Jolt was 2-1. So we see both coaches going into an even score. So again, great game. Good luck to both of you guys in the next week. Our next game, we have the Tampa Bay Lux Rays and Monotui, and the Seattle Onyx and Baby Eric or Vandal X. You may note that at this time, neither of these have been uploaded, but we do have a chance to see all the kills and death and the result. And I did talk to Eric just a little bit after the match to get an insight as to what happened. So I'm not going to be saying so much about this because I haven't seen the full battle, but we can just go through the rosters and see the score. So Monotui, of course, bringing Victini, Mega Venusaur, Gliscor, Klefki, Licky Licky, and Swampert, while Eric brought Weavile, Mega Alakazam, Landorus Therian, Tentacruel, Diancie, and Ditto. What I did hear about this game is Landorus was actually had a really solid matchup against Monotui's team. Weavile, of course, being able to handily take out the Gliscor in most scenarios, that being, of course, his only ground immunity on the team, giving Landorus a free reign to potentially set up and do Earthquake or just get a lot of damage on his team. So what I heard is that the Landorus had, I believe, Flying MZ, but at one point after using it did miss a fly, and Eric claims that this lost him 2-0 instead of winning him 5-0, but of course, hacks happen. We almost did see Weavile bring it back this game, but I'm assuming this was very well played by Monotui and both players, of course, but not much else can be said at this time, so let's go into our next game. We have the Bayern Munich and Shaadi versus the Norwich Skitty and the Don Fanatic. Shaadi bringing Mega Charizard X, Jirachi, Tapu Fini, Dugtrio, Aerodactyl, and Rotom, while the Jack brought Togekiss, Mega Beedrill, Infernape, Gastrodon, Necrozma, and Electivire. Both very solid rosters. We see Shaadi with his disgusting core, while Jack had some very solid offense and defense, a really good defensive core with Togekiss and Gastrodon, a really strong offense with Mega Beedrill, Infernape, and Electivire. Shaadi, of course, did win this game 1-0. I thought it was really solid all around. Electivire could have potentially been a really huge problem for Shaadi, as he claimed to have not prepped for it too much. It is one of considered pretty underrated in League format. Well, it's considered kind of bad for a lot of people, but for others it's very underrated and can be powerful. And in this game we did see Shaadi get a little bit scared of it. There was some unfortunate hacks around it when there is a crit special attack drop from a Moonblast, but again, these kind of things happen. Shaadi claims that he could have potentially set up with Charizard on it, but let's not focus too much on the hacks. I think Shaadi did a fantastic job of using various components of his team to respectively dismantle his offense and defense. Dugtrio coming in clutch multiple times, of course getting the KO on Infernape, and being very scary for Mega Beedrill. Rotom coming into this game going 2-1, of course did a lot of damage to Jack's defense with spreading around the Toxic and getting the Hex, and doing serious damage to the Togekiss Gastrodon core. Necrozma getting up a Swords Dance was super scary, so Toxic wore it down pretty handily. That and the combination of Hex, of course, took Necrozma down as well. And then those two just set the stage for the Charizard X show, which we've seen before. We're not getting sick of it. We just want to see it perform the way it performs. Good job, Shaadi, and well played, of course, to you too, Jack. This was, again, a really fantastic game. Two amazing players going up against each other. Jack is now gone 2-2, and Shaadi, I believe, is now 3-1 in the league, getting pretty high up there on the league table. Our next game, we have the Bouffalant Bills with Makati versus the Cleveland Bros and Ruby Marrow. Ruby, of course, being the #1 team in the league at the time before this battle took place, being 3-0 going in. while Will had a little bit of a rough start to the season, at the time being 1-2. Makati brought Nihilego, Skarmory, Vaporeon, Mega Pinsir, Shaman, and Hitmonlee, while Ruby brought Tapu Koko, Sableye, Ferrothorn, Meloetta, Pelipper, and Kingdra. Pretty scary offensive teams on both opponents' end, them, of course, being very offensive players. Will had some really fantastic hazards games at the very beginning of the match, getting a few layers up with Skarmory early on and getting the whirlwind action to weaken his team a little bit. I also think he brought some really solid prep with his specially defensive Vaporeon, able to handle some of the rain threats a little bit better. He was able to manage the rain quite well. It was brought with a Pelipper and Kingdra combination. Tapu Koko as well being able to take advantage of rain with the electric terrain. Thunder always doing heavy damage to things. The Koko being, interestingly enough, Z move, Z or Z, whatever flavor you like, Brave Bird, so the Supersonic Sky Strike. This game made it very apparent that these moves are incredibly broken. If you see the amount of damage that the Supersonic Sky Strike did against the Shaman, you will know exactly what I am talking about. Will was able to eventually come out of this game 2-0, able to clean up with Shaman while playing a very solid game, able to 1v1 the Kingdra with his Nihilego, outside of the rain, of course, getting a kill there, and again with the solid prep on his Vaporeon and Skarmory getting the hazards and sponging the hits that it needed to do. That was a fantastically prepared game on his part. Very solid game, very offensive and fast. It was very fun to watch, and great job to both of these coaches. And the last game I'm going to talk about today, we have the Canberra Canyons, officially coached now by Shadow Gaming Hub and Colton. And the Southampton Sneasels, coached by Jordan or Jordinez. Colton bringing the Celesteela, Arcanine, Crocodile, Latias, Primarina, and Terrakion, and Jordan bringing the Whimsicott, making its debut, Manaphy, Mega Sableye, Blaziken, Sylveon, and Excadrill. Colton winning 2-0 here. Talked last week about how it was interesting to see if Jordan and his revamped team made a couple of transfers, of course, seeing if that would do better against Colton, still getting used to the team that he has here. Of course, picking up from Trav a while ago. I think his transfer didn't pull through. The Whimsicott was able to tank a hit from the Crocodile, which could have really been a problem for him had he not had this resistance here. I found it interesting that his Mega Sableye had Toxic instead of Will-O-Wisp to cripple his team. Of course, that did cripple his Primarina pretty decently, it being probably the most defensive mon on his entire team. The team he brought was much more offensive, and Will-O-Wisp would have heavily crippled the likes of Crocodile and even the Celesteela, being physically offensive this week. Celesteela, of course, going 3-0, did a fantastic job cleaning up this game with its Beast Boost, Seed Bomb, Autotomize set. He brought a nice ruse, I thought, with the Arcanine being Scarfed and also having Morning Sun. Not sure if Jordan actually fell for that ruse, but I thought it was pretty funny. Always love seeing choice mons without any attacking moves. Big surprise that Terrakion had the rock move there, because Stone Edge is just so very reliable all the time. I think Colton just did a really great job this game. Did some smart sacks against Manaphy after it set up, and was just able to, like we said, clean up with the Celesteela. I think Jordan still played a really great game. Really glad to see that his transactions worked out for him the way I'm assuming they wanted, of course, Whimsicott tanking the Crocodile, which otherwise the sub-bulk upset could have done some really serious damage. So great game, both of you guys. All these games were fantastic. Please go watch them if you haven't already. Go support your favorite coaches. They are all fantastic people and play Pokemon so well. With that nice segue, let's go into the league table. This is going to reflect, of course, Kelly and Jack with the, not the Jack, just Jack and the Melbourne Victory Stars, only having 3 games each. We still have Ruby Marrow and the Cleveland Bros sitting on top of the league, being 3-1 with a +7 differential. And right behind him, we have 2 more 3-1 teams, the Tampa Bay Lux Rays, 3-1 +3 differential, and same with Shaadi, 3-1 and +3. Waiting on Kelly, let's see how you do if you join the 3-1 club here or not. Then we have a lot of 2-2 teams going on right now. Paul, the West Coast Wingles, Makati, Bouffalant Bills, Jolt, and the Toronto Star Raptors, all interestingly enough with a 0 differential, as many kills as deaths they all have. Jack right below them, 2-2 with a -1 differential, and then the Canberra Canyons with officially now Colton at a -3 differential. Baby Eric now sitting at 4 games played, 1 win, 3 losses at a -2 differential. That's still really nice for the record there. And Jordan, unfortunately, still down there with a -12 differential. Going to be some really fantastic games coming up next week. We've got Polymac and the West Coast Wingles going up against Monotui. We've got the Toronto Star Raptors going up against Shaadi and the Bayern Munich. Baby Eric, Seattle Onyx going up against Bouffalant Bills. Narsh Skitty and the Maryland Terrapins. Cleveland Bros and the Canberra Canyons, and the Melbourne Victory Star and the Southampton Sneasels. Quite looking forward to all this game. I think they're pretty evenly matched. There are going to be some very offensive and stally games alike, and it's going to be a fantastic week that we all have to look forward to. And so real quick, I'm going to go over the Golden Pokeball Award. I'm sorry that this video is going to be a little bit rushed, but because of time constraints and all, I just want to get everything up for you guys. We have, still at the top, even with potentially 1 game not played, we've got Greninja, still sitting at 7-1 +6. Even without the protein, it's still such a really fantastic offensive mon in the league format. We have Scolipede from the Cleveland Bros at 7-2 +5. And then we have all tied below that Diggersby, Garchomp, and Swampert all at 7-3 +4. Manaphy being up on the table, 7-4 +3, should absolutely deserves to be on there. And then we've got Mamoswine, 6-0 at this time. Wasn't brought last game, but still going without a death so far in the league. Mega Charizard X, of course, Shaadi has been playing with this incredibly well, sitting at 5-1. Here at number 9, we have Nihilego from the Bouffalant Bills, sitting at 5-2 at this time. And still hanging on to the roster, we've got Landorus Therian, 5-3. Could have potentially been higher up there, but unfortunately for that game, but you're still high. You're still just clinging onto the list, so hope to see you do better up on there in the future. So that's been a quick recap, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry that this has been rushed again, but it was more important that we get this up for you. Please go check out all of your coaches, subscribe to them, watch their games, give them the support. If you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up. It helps, most importantly, the PPL channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't, and hit everyone up on Twitter. I'll see you next week. Please enjoy all the coming battles, and I'll be right back here to talk more nonsense about them. So that is all for this week. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.